That's the way you would misspell it on a typewriter. Sorry, computer. Hey everybody, this is CIT 12. It is week 16, and that means next week is the last week of instruction, and the week after that is finals week. It seems like the semesters go by faster every year. So this week we're covering a fairly important chapter, Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is all about malware. Viruses, Trojans, all the sorts of terrible things that can get into your computer and just ruin your day. There's all sorts of malware out there, but there's also lots of ways to protect yourself, and that's what Chapter 9 is about. There's a lot of great information in the chapter. My video lecture really tries to make it just more practical. We talk about a lot of practical ways you can protect yourself. Some of the stuff is kind of scary. Something that's come up just recently in this last semester, I mean, it's been around for a bit, but it sort of blossomed in this last semester, has been something called ransomware. We don't really cover it in the chapter, but if you just Google it, you'll hear all about ransomware, where essentially your hard drive gets encrypted and then people have you pay money in order to unencrypt it. It's affecting a lot of government agencies. Anyway, there's a lot of bad stuff out on the internet. I don't think I had to tell you that. As always, quiz on Chapter 9. Discussion is going to try and stay practical as well. Instead of talking about malware and viruses, we're going to talk about a related subject that also has to do with security. That's data breaches and your password. So a lot of us do a lot of our shopping and living online, right? You have accounts with all sorts of different companies. Sometimes those companies are hit by hackers, people who are attempting to get data from that website. And we call that a data breach. There's been a lot of data breaches out there, and usually the company will notify you, but depending on how you set up your account, you may not actually know whether or not it happened. And so there's some resources out there. We're going to look at 3 different resources to help you with data breaches and the passwords you use online to protect yourself. The first is haveibeenpwned.com. I do apologize. It's a gamer term, one that I'm familiar with, but maybe it's an old person gamer term. I have no idea. But pwned is spelled P-W-N-E-D. It just means owned because that's the way you would misspell it on a typewriter. Sorry, computer. Terrible name, great website. So haveibeenpwned.com. There's a link in the week 16 folder. Just click on the link. And it'll tell you, essentially, after a group has accomplished a data breach, they've pulled a lot of data off of a server belonging to a website. They often post that data somewhere. Just as a way of saying, hey, look, we got it. This group effectively goes around and finds those and puts everything into a database. They keep track of all of that stuff, and so you can actually just go to that one location, put in your email address, an email address that maybe is associated with other accounts that you have, and you can determine whether or not your data has been stolen. So check it out, haveibeenpwned.com. There's some data that you can't get access to, and that's because the information is considered sensitive. AshleyMadison.com, I'm not going to tell you what they do. If you don't know, don't look. But point being, if you have an account on that website, that could be a sign of infidelity in a marriage. And so they don't let anybody just type in your address and get that information. You actually have to create an account and verify that you are the owner of the address before you can get information. Anyway, they're doing it for your benefit. Hopefully, nobody's had a data breach. Although statistics would say 1 or 2 you probably have. But one of the ways that your data gets breached is because you have a bad password. And so that's our second resource. HowSecureIsMyPassword.net. Very simple website, a site that can be trusted. All you do has a simple text field. You type your password into that text field, and it will tell you, using a standard computer, how long it would take a hacker using a brute force algorithm to crack your password. If your password is simple, it could take seconds or less than a second. If your password is complex, it could take billions of years, literally billions of years with our current technology. The idea is that you want to have a password that you use that is secure as possible. That is the one thing that's protecting all of your data, all of what you have online, your bank accounts, your photos, all sorts of stuff. And you've probably seen in the news lots of people who have experienced very damaging personal data breaches. So choose good passwords. The last one is a company called AgileBits. They have a product called 1Password. don't worry about this too much. It's mentioned there's a video that is associated with the last two, choosing a good password and possibly using something like 1Password to manage your passwords and choose good passwords for you. The reason I say don't worry about it is because a lot of operating system manufacturers are beginning to incorporate that service, that idea of keeping track of passwords and suggesting passwords. They're building it right into the operating system. Mac OS 10 has it, I believe Windows 10 has it now. And so anyway, 1Password may not be as needed as it was in the past, but at the very least you can get an idea of what it does, because even if you do it, for free through Mac OS 10, you're still going to have that, it's still working in the exact same way. So it'd be nice to know how it works. So take a look at that. Like I said, for how secure is my password.net and the 1Password from AgileBits, I have a video in the week 16 folder telling you how to use them and giving you a little bit more information, including talking about some of the changes in operating systems and how you may actually get that service for free now. And the last thing is the lab, but the lab is a little weird. The lab is actually on Windows 10, so how to use the latest version of Windows. It'll walk you through some of the new features, some of the things that are different in Windows 10, as well as some of the basic, this is how you operate Windows. So Windows 10 lab is there. Now Windows 10 doesn't actually map to any practical exam, right? We're done with practical exams. If you finish your PowerPoint exam, you're done. And so the Windows 10 lab, it's optional. I'm choosing to make the last lab optional. This is the last lab we have to do. After this, no more My IT lab whatsoever. But if you do it, I will take that score and I will replace your lowest lab score from the past. So if you have a score that was particularly low, or if you happen to miss a lab, which I know several people have, definitely do this lab because it will replace your other one. If you've already done all the labs and you enjoyed your scores, then don't worry about it. You don't have to do it and it won't affect your grade at all. Effectively, at the end of the semester, this will be the lab that gets dropped for you. So anyway, point being, Windows 10 lab is optional, but also kind of interesting. So even if you have done all the labs, you might still want to do it. And that's it. If you have any questions, as always, give me an email, brian.baker@fresnocitycollege.edu, and I will see you online.